David xin kính chào tất cả quý khán giả của đài Viet My Television. Kính thưa quý khán giả, hôm nay David rất là hân hạnh được tiếp đón anh Thùy Đình Phạm, là hiện tại anh là phó biện lý của Los Angeles. Và hôm nay anh đã muốn có cơ duyên để mà về phục vụ cộng đồng tại Orange County. Anh sẽ ứng cử với chức vụ là thẩm phán tại quận Cam. Thì hôm nay một cơ duyên được gặp anh. Can you please say hi to everyone?
Xin thưa chào quý vị. Tôi tên là Thùy Đình Phạm. Bữa nay cố gắng nói tiếng Việt Nam, mà có thể chắc nói hơn nhiều tiếng Mỹ đó. Mà muốn xin lỗi mà không nói tiếng Việt Nam khá hơn. Mà muốn cảm ơn anh David bữa nay cho cái thời gian mà nói tới thiên hạn. Cảm ơn.
Thì hôm nay David sẽ có những cái câu hỏi được ra cho anh. Thì cái lý do nào anh ra ứng cử và chọn cái chức vụ thẩm phán? For what reason should you be elected for the position of Superior Court Judge?
Mà cái câu này thì Thùy phải trả lời tiếng Mỹ. Tại ở trong tiếng Mỹ nó nói một cái câu này là rất quan trọng. I am living the American dream, and I would never have thought that would have been possible. As a young kid that grew up in Vietnam, by the age of 5, I immigrated with my family to America, and I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that I, through my hard work, could rise and become an attorney, a prosecutor, and do what I've done. And to fulfill all that, to possibly become a judge in Orange County would complete my dreams. And I want to do it to help people, really. I've spent many years in public service, and I would like to help people if I can, one case at a time.
And why did you decide to run for this position, Judge of Superior Court in Orange County?
Thì cái câu này thì hãy mà trả lời thì giống kỷ niệm với lại cái người hồi nhỏ ở trong Việt Nam mà chắc nói tiếng Mỹ chút này. My experience, that is my biggest asset that I have in becoming a Superior Court judge in Orange County. And the experience that I have is over 10 years as a deputy district attorney for LA County. And throughout that time period, I have done many trials. Actually, my trial count is above 100. In addition to my experience as a prosecutor, I have spent a little bit more than 3 years as a deputy public defender. And that's where I represented people charged with crimes. However, they did not have any money to pay for an attorney. So I represented them. It's these two unique experiences that I have as both a prosecutor and as a criminal defense attorney that will help me become a very complete judge. And I think it will help Orange County too.
Thưa anh, thì anh có thể cho biết là vì sao cái lá phiếu nó quan trọng để anh được vào cái chức thẩm phán tại quận Cam? And why do you think the votes should elect you to become judge of Superior Court of Orange County?
And now, cái câu này thì phải trả lời tiếng Mỹ. Thì hãy mà nói lại thì giống my experience as a prosecutor and a defense attorney will help me be a very good judge in criminal matters. But I think spending time on both sides will help me.
And could you please tell us, an audience, a little bit about yourself and your family?
So, hồi mà sinh ở trong 970, hồi mà 5 tuổi thì phải chạy qua nước Mỹ. Mà ở trong cái thời gian đó thì có gia đình thì có hết cộng là 5 anh em ở trong cái gia đình. And let me explain it in English this way. My parents have always prided themselves on raising all their children to be proud of their heritage, that we come from Vietnam. And as a young child, I fought against that because I wanted to be more Americanized than not. And it's only when I became an adult that it was very important to me to find out where I came from. And I had a few opportunities to go back to Vietnam. And I must honestly say, it felt like home, at least to me. And even though I'm very embarrassed by the fact that I don't speak very good Vietnamese, that's something that if I were to have a job in Orange County, I would definitely change and my Vietnamese would improve tremendously. But at least for my family, my siblings, my oldest sister, she's a pediatrician, then comes me in age, then comes my younger sister who's a fashion designer, then I have another brother that works for USC, the school, and my youngest brother works for Disneyland as an auditor or internal accountant.
Ông Thụy, thưa ông có thể cho quý khán giả biết ông sang Hoa Kỳ từ năm nào và ông đi bằng chương trình gì? When did you come to US and how? Under what immigration program?
Actually, it's a very interesting story that I never realized how my family immigrated to the United States. It was only when I was probably a young adult that one of my father's friends, one of his military friends, had met up for the very first time. They were sitting around the table, and I was just sitting around the table listening. And my dad retold the story to his friend, and I was just amazed of really how fortunate my family was. So back on the very last day that Saigon had fallen, my dad was a military person, and he was in charge of a platoon, if I recall correctly. Earlier in the day, at around 10 o'clock, word that the capital had fallen. He had received that information, and he still was a commander of a battalion, and he was tasked to secure a certain area. Now, very interestingly enough, on that rainy day in that area, the equivalent of, I want to call it, a viceroy, came up to my father, and my father had told me that he just knew him. But that viceroy actually made an offer to my dad. He asked my dad if he had safe passage all the way down to the water. My dad says, right now, there's safe passage. And what's interestingly enough is the next opportunity, he offered my dad the opportunity to take his family and some few men with him. So my father, who's a very, very patriotic man, had just a few seconds to decide his future as well as my family's future within those seconds. So I always look back on that day of a what if. What if my dad didn't take that man up on his offer? What if a lot of things didn't happen to where I'm sitting here today? So I'm very I'm grateful for that opportunity by that person. So we immigrated because of that, and we ended up eventually in Northern California, really.
Và ông có thể sơ lược về tiểu sử của gia đình anh, như ba anh là giữ được cái chức vụ gì trước năm 1975. And could you please tell us more about your father? What did he do? And what was his position before 1975?
At least let me answer this in English. I've told you my father is a very patriotic person, and before 75, he was a military man. He went to Vabi. That's the equivalent of West Point here in America, and he's a very patriotic person that was in the army for the South Vietnamese Army, and very patriotic person. That's all I can say.
So for Southern Vietnamese military.
Yes, yes.
Và anh nghĩ rằng sau khi mà anh đắc cử chức vụ thẩm phán tại Hoa Kỳ, anh cũng là người tiếng nói, anh là con người có tiếng nói mà giúp cho cộng đồng Việt Nam. Và trước cái tình hình mà Việt Nam đang căng thẳng với Trung Cộng, còn bên Cộng sản thì rất là khuyết nhịp với người dân, Và bây giờ thì trong cái tình trạng mà Trung Cộng đang xâm lăng và người dân thì không có một tiếng nói, thì anh có thể là đại diện cho người Việt Nam, anh có thể là có một cái tiếng nói gì để giúp cho dân tộc người Việt Nam trong cái lúc mà dầu sôi lửa bỏng giữa người Việt Nam và cũng như là người đang against với là China communism.
Thì cái câu đó rất là khó trả lời ở trong tiếng Việt Nam, thì xin nói tiếng Mỹ. There's multiple questions, David, that you just asked me, and it's very complex. But I'll try to answer the question. First and foremost, if I were elected to the Orange County Superior Court judge, you need to understand that there are two sets of laws that would dictate my actions. As a judge, I have to follow the law, whether I agree or disagree with it personally. So the first set of laws is the U.S. Constitution and all the laws of the United States. Now, at the same time is the laws of the state of California that I have to follow as a sitting judge. And my jurisdiction, or the power that I have as a sitting judge in Orange County, only extends to the county of Los Angeles. So when you say that in my position, if I can help the people of Vietnam, I can't. And that's just outside my jurisdiction. And what I can say is that being a judge, it's very difficult because you have to be a neutral. If you think about it, it's a lot of times if the police or the government comes into your house, they do various things, it's really the only way a common person to say the government did wrong is you come into court and it's the judge that says the government needs to back off or they did something wrong. That's the judge's prerogative or right. And it's hard for a judge to not take sides in various issues because a judge must always stay neutral. And I have been told that if I were to become a judge, let's say that I were involved in a lot of activities inside the community, I would have to, it's my understanding, and I could be wrong, divest myself of various things. For instance, if I sat on the board of various companies, I would have to resign those because a judge is a person that is a neutral and can't take sides in any matter.
Political.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for our question, for our answer. And final question is, anh có thể cho quý khán giả biết cái ngày bầu chọn vào cái chức mà thẩm phán, và anh có muốn gửi nhắn lời gì đến cho đồng hương và biết rõ hơn để mà họ đến ủng hộ cho anh. Can you provide more detail about the election set at the date and time?
Anh David, cái câu này thì phải trả lời ở trong tiếng Mỹ. First and foremost, if you live in Orange County, you can vote for all Superior Court judges. A lot of people say, if I live in just this city, but it's anyone that lives within Orange County. And even if you're not registered to vote, you can register to vote up until, I believe, May 31st. You can even do it online. And the best way to do it is register so that you can do absentee ballot. They'll send you a ballot, you fill it out at home, and then you send it, right? For some people, they don't like to vote by absentee ballot, and they'll go to the polls on the election day, which is going to be June 7th, 2016. So I urge you to, if you're not registered to vote, register. And if you're registered to vote, please, please vote. It's very important because I guarantee you, for my position that I'm running, there's only 2 people. So after June 7th, one person will be a judge of Orange County. And that's fantastic for someone that day. Let me see. One last thing that I'd like to say besides voting. I want everyone to vote and to vote for the best qualified person of who you think that can serve Orange County to the best of their abilities. And I hope that you can support me.
And can you tell audience what's your seat number?
Oh,
That's
Yes.
very important.
Yes, it's Orange County Superior Court, seat number 40, 40. And I also have a website. It is pham, P-H-A-M, the number 4, judge.com.
Kính thưa quý khán giả, số ghế của ông thẩm phán của tòa án sẽ được elect vào tháng 6 ngày mùng 7 với số ghế là 40. Ông Thùy Đình Phạm. Xin quý vị hãy ủng hộ cho ông, và những cái lá phiếu của quý vị rất là quan trọng đến với cộng đồng Việt Nam, cho một người trong giới trẻ sẽ được vào chức vụ thẩm phán tòa án tại Orange County. Trân trọng kính chào tất cả quý khán giả.